boy, do I have some cool things in store for you today. Welcome to CMC Stamps, stands for Color Me Crazy with Trisha Williams. This is kind of fun, you guys. I have my iPad up and I've got my iPhone above, so it's doing both at the same time. So it's pretty cool. So you're gonna see some from my face and some from me working up above. But like I said, we have a super packed day. A super packed video. So thank you for buying this month's tutorial for the November tutorial. And it's all about Santa's workshop. Some signs of Santa. I'm acting like my little girl. Okay, so let's get to it. So let's go ahead and go from up above and you can see me making this card. Now, you guys see that there's a lot of stuff that I'm using today. Yeah, I do have quite a bit of materials out. One of my favorites are these amazing shimmer paints. Oh my, I am in love with these. Seriously in love with these. Okay, they come in 4 different kinds and I've used them so much that I've bought a couple of them just to stock up. So this is what it looks like when it comes. It comes brand new, just like this, in the package, so it's got a little shine to it. And then you see that we have 4 different kinds. Okay, the one that I mainly use today, and I think it's kind of becoming my all-time favorite, is this Champagne Mist. I love it. So if you can see up above there, Champagne Mist. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move the shimmer paints now that you know that there's 4. And let's move on. So I'm going to use a sponge dauber a lot today, and I just grabbed a plate. Really, any kind of plate will do. So we'll get that all started and put together here in just a second. Oh, one thing to know about the shimmer paints. Do you hear that? That's me shaking my shimmer paint because I want to make sure that it's really shooken up before I use it. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some on my plate. All right, let's get some ready to go. Now, the key with shimmer paints is kind of like watercoloring. You want to use it after it, like while it's wet. So use it while it's still wet. And see how sometimes I get extras, so no big deal. I'm just gonna grab a brush and kind of get my extras and just smear it on there. There's millions of things that you can do with this cool shimmer paint. And in fact, if you want to know how to use shimmer paints in different techniques, you're gonna have to check out my video that's gonna post soon. It's a bunch of different techniques on how to use the shimmer paints. I'm gonna say it's 3 or 4 techniques on how to use your shimmer paints. Okay, so you see that I put it out there all fresh and ready to go. Like I said, you use it while it's fresh. Another thing, it will like dry, because it is a paint, it will dry really quickly and ruin your stuff. So I would rinse this through really quick with some soap and water so that I can make my stuff last longer. Okay, we're gonna do some heat embossing, we'll get to that. And I did use a couple other stamp sets. So I used this Star of Light stamp set, so we'll get to that later. I used, of course, the Signs of Santa. And then there's this really cool promotional Snow is Glistening. Wow. I mean, this thing is like seriously gorgeous stamp set. There's so much you can do with all these cool snow embellishments that they have in here. And then I would get the dies that come along with it. It makes these gorgeous, gorgeous snowflakes. Like really pretty snowflakes. So see how intricate it is? Oh my, just gorgeous. Okay, so we'll get to that at the end as well. So this is kind of the flow of things. I'm going to show you how to make this card that we're doing, this one right here, and I love it. It is so gorgeous. If you can tell, there is a shimmer. So that's how we're going to use the shimmer paints, okay, to make this card. All right, so lovely. I love it. There's different variations of this card, and then I'm also going to show you how to make this lovely tag. See how I've made it in different types? Just wanted to bring them up close so you could see them really well. Okay, yes, here they are, the lovely tags that I just adore. They're really, really, really cool. So yeah, we'll get to that later, of course. A couple other fun things. I got to show you one other tag that I made. This one I cased off of somebody else's, and also I cased this one. So I cased both of these off of, this was off a card and this was off a pizza box, little treat box, which I'm going to use at my next event. Isn't it gorgeous? So I'm giving you some sneak peeks, but stick around because I'm going to show you how to use it. Then I also used the Santa signpost, which I label it as having 14 pieces, so I always know how much I have. Okay, so we're gonna use the Big Shot. We're gonna use our glimmer paint. We're gonna emboss. It's like a party over here. And then I get to show you some of the cool projects and cards at the very end that I did. So I just have it all in this little bag. I'm gonna just get it all out for us. And we're also gonna use In the Woods, this cool little, gosh, what do you call it? Like a hillside die that's gonna be really add a little bit of extra to our card. So just so you know ahead of time, and we're using the blends. So I'm going to pull the blends back here until we're ready to use them. Okay, let's go ahead and move on here. If you hear any noises, it's my kids. They are upstairs playing with a babysitter so that I can do this video. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're both busy and cute, and they love my scrapbooking stuff. So you saw that I used my bone folder. I love these. Then I've got my pieces, a couple pieces cut out already. You can see that I used some vellum. Sorry. Usually it's easy to see when you have it up against something. So there's some vellum that I cut a little bit thicker than this because the vellum's going to go behind and then this is going to go in front. So let's go ahead and start there. You can use whatever adhesive you like and prefer. My preference, and I'm just shaking it down, is this green glue. There's two sides. I use the fine tip, and I am going to basically just put it along the, oh, hopefully it's not clogged up. There we go. Thought it was clogged, but it wasn't. Sometimes they clog up. If it ever clogs up, I just use a safety pin and put it down in through there, or I use like a paper towel and just squeeze it and use all my extra glue that comes out, okay? So I've got quite a bit of glue on there. In fact, I'm going to take a little bit off and kind of spread it out and put it on the back of that piece of paper. Okay, then I'm going to put it not dead center, but slightly like, well, you know, 1/3 above. So it's slightly above the middle section. And see how I did not put glue on my outsides because that's going to probably show. And I did a little sneaky trick to make sure that I only had glue on the center portion of my vellum so that when this is over it, the glue will not show, and it's like magic. I like magic. I always say everything looks like magic. And guess what? I am going to Disney World, and it will be so magical. I'm going with Stampin' Up! For their convention, and I did happen to earn the convention free this year. And I'm staying with a bunch of my buddies. There's, I think, like 17 or 18 of us staying in a house. We have a swimming pool, and it's going to be a 3-day party with Stampin' Up! So I'm pretty stoked. Okay, so see how I put that right over there? Love it. Okay, now we're ready to move on to our next step. And I think I'm going to do the heat embossing next, just because we have everything. We know where everything's going to go. So just as this is going to be kind of my template, I want my Merry Christmas to go right about there. And you guys are like, where did you get the Merry Christmas? Well, in the annual catalog, there's this amazing stamp set called Star of Light, and I used the Merry Christmas from right there. So hopefully you can see it. So that's where I got that from, was the Star of Light. Okay, we are totally going to use the Emboss Buddy because I love this thing. It basically just makes it so that your powder is not going to stick where you don't want it to. So let's use our Versamark. Let's pull out the Versamark next. And I hope that I am completely on camera. I think I am. So here's our Versamark, and I just ink it up. And just like lightly dab. And the way that you can tell it's on there is it will have like a really cool shine. I'm not even sure if the camera picked that up, but. So then I'm going to go ahead and use this as like a template about where I'm going to have my circle and where, and I put it really close to my circle, so pretty far up, and I hold it for a good, couple seconds. Another thing you can do is you can put your foam mat underneath when you go to stamp, and it will help you with your photopolymer only to get a better image. Don't worry if you have the red rubber type that is called clear. That already has its own foam, so it's already good to go. All right, so then this is how I do my embossing. I keep my embossing stuff right in this cute little container. And then what I do is I just pour it on. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna bring out our tool gun from Stampin' Up. I love this thing. It's got 2 levels. Level 1 is usually used for like painting, and level 2 is what we're gonna use for heat embossing. Always use level 2 all the way up for heat embossing. So as it gets loud, I'm gonna go ahead and just put music in the background while I do this. And voila, we are finished, at least with that part. Okay, so our next part is really fun. I'm gonna bring out my Big Shot. What I love about my Big Shot is I have learned how to cut multiple things in one run through. Yes, because if you're like me and you're busy and you got kids running around or other things going on, you need to learn how to do it fast. Yeah, totally. So you get me on that one, huh? So I'm kind of a fast stamper if I can be. So I'm gonna cut out that cool little circle, which is like, here, let me show you my card. That's this background that we're gonna do here. We're gonna work on that next. And then you know what's cool is I cut out a white to get this like snowbank on the bottom. And I was able to use it with 2, no kidding, 2 different cards, because then we use this in the woods. I told you we were gonna use it, and here's our moment to use our in the woods. And we're gonna use that little snowbank. So grabbing the snowbank piece, this thing is a little squirrely. Okay, so now we're gonna use the, like I said I would use it, the signs, the Santa's signpost dies, okay? So I'm gonna use this cute little Santa cutout and this cute little cutout for the sign. And hopefully, yep, it looks like we're gonna get enough. We're gonna get it on there just perfectly. So see how cool this is, you guys? I like really build up my sandwich when I cut because I want to maximize my time, and this is how I do it. So what I tell people to do is put the corner down, hold it like a sandwich, and then go all the way through. Luckily, we only need to go through once, and then we're done, which is pretty cool. And don't worry, I'm speeding some of this up, and putting some music in the background. If any time that I speed up and have something intricate to do, I'll put some cool music so you guys aren't bored. But see all these cool things that I have now? So what we're gonna do basically is glue that onto there, makes our snowbank, and then let's color and stamp these cute little snowman or Santa and the signpost. Okay, moving the Big Shot. All right, here is the fun stuff. We've gotten to the fun part. I love this part because this part is the blends. If you are interested in learning how to use the blends, such as the color lifter, you should totally watch my video. The link is gonna be up above. Once I finish the video, I'm working on it. So when that's all done, go ahead and hit the link up above and you can watch all about how to use blends. Okay. You can see this cute little Santa, and I want you to know that with different cards I did different things. So let's say you really don't have a lot of time but you want to make a stunning card. Well, do what I just did. I accidentally made a little error here. I touched after I had smear, and so that's why I put that on there. But when you're making a card at home and you want to go a little faster, do what I just did with your card, except cut out the paper. Right now it's on back order, but this paper is awesome. I will put the information up there of what paper it is and what it's called. And then you can just cut these out with your Big Shot die all in one go. And then you've got like the cutest card, and I didn't have to do any coloring. So if you just like hate despise or just don't have a lot of time and you don't want to color, just do what I did and cut it out and put it on. Now, however, this one right here, this one, oh, that shimmer looks so cool right there. This card, I actually used darker red colors. Like I think I used cherry cobbler, but this one I used poppy and a little accent of cherry cobbler on there. Okay, so I used the light cherry cobbler and the dark poppy parade. And that's how I made this. So let's go ahead and get him colored away because I really want you to feel comfortable with your blends. Okay, I'm going to teach more in my class all about blends, so you can go ahead and check that out right now. But if you really want to know, there's 2 different tips, and I almost always use the finer tip because it gives me a little more control. The other side is just like a thicker marker, and it's really awesome too, especially if you're doing a large kind of thing. But I tend to go out of the lines, and one thing I learned about the blends, just having experience with them, is that they do tend to bleed out of the lines really easily. And I kind of work in one space before I move on. You want to make sure that you work with it being wet because it is alcohol based, and the way they blend is when they actually are more wet. Otherwise you might have kind of a weird streak if you wait till it dries and then go back over it. Okay, there's 2 different ways to do it. I have a tendency to put my light color on and then accent with my dark and come back with my light. But here I have my light cherry cobbler, and I'm going to go over the accented parts where I want the kind of the shadows. I'm going over that first. And then while it's still wet, then I'm going to go ahead and just color over it. And what's cool about these blends is, honestly, if you give it time, the magic works. What it kind of needs is a little bit of time to blend because it is alcohol. It's sort of like when you use bleach and you just need a little bit of time. So there you go. There's your accents. If you wanted it a little bit darker of a grade, you just go back over it again while it's still kind of wet. And I actually love him like that. Now I'm going to put my caps on. And I'm going to go to my next color. And while I am coloring this, I'm going to go ahead and just put some music on. Hello, pumpkin pie. And just give him some cute little cheeks. Okay, this is a really fun, we see how fast this is, but this is a really fun little technique. Is just like my paper had some natural shading right here in his beard and on his paper, I'm gonna do the same thing right here in his cute little beard. Let's go ahead and do the post. And once again, I'm going to speed it up and you can just watch me color and enjoy. And hopefully you are learning how to do this and you feel more confident, because that is one of my goals as your teacher. and you want to do less color of your dark and more color of your light. That's a general rule for most of my coloring, is I want my dark to only be my accent and my light to really stand out. Finally to the point where we're going to work with the shimmer paints, and this is really cool step. So I grabbed this sucker, this stamp from the Snow is Glistening. It's like the top one up there, and these are also photopolymer. They are gorgeous, this wonderful tree, and that's the stamp I'm going to use today. And I'm inking up with Coastal Cabana, and I am going to, you know what? Let's use this underneath us just to give us a little extra good look. And if you are like me and you stamp off, just clean it with soap and water afterwards, and you'll be fine. It'll clean right off. Okay, although we are using the Coastal Cabana for the card that we're doing today, I really wanted to show you in the Night of Navy, because it has this really cool like nighttime glistening look, and I think it shows up really cool. See how cool that is? And then sometimes I would do a couple little shimmery snowflakes down here at the bottom just to make it kind of have like a cool moon shape. So that's how I did that. All right, so as that's drying, we're gonna get our shimmer paint all ready. I think this is the fun part. And I poured it earlier, and I think it's still good, and we're just gonna use this. And all I'm doing is I'm grabbing my sponge dauber, and I'm pulling up some paint on it, and then I'm just daubing it off just to kind of make it even. And then this is the fun part. You want to make sure you don't get too much, so I start kind of heavy at the top, and as there's less on here, then I start going down, and it gives it like a really cool sparkle. And you can go back and forth or in circles, kind of whatever works. I'm hoping that you can see how cool this is, and you just want to kind of make it blend. And also you can dab like this. If you have like areas that didn't blend very well, you can just kind of dab it on. Okay, now I've given some time for that to dry. Let's go ahead and put the shimmer on it. Like I said, I kind of do more towards the top and then just work my way down. And this one, the reason I really wanted to show this one to you is I thought it looked much more like a diamond sky. Just shimmers of a diamond sky. It's so pretty. So you can see I used up all of my shimmer paints, and then I'm going to go ahead and wash this right away with soap and water in just a second. Okay, let's go ahead and glue on our snowbanks, and then luckily I found my stamp set with the North Pole, so we'll also do that and put it all together, and I'm going to show you real quick my tag. Okay, so I just used a little green glue. You can do Snell. And then I just like green glue because it gives me a second to move it around. Like if I wasn't sure I liked it right there, I could move it a little before it actually adheres. So it's kind of cool. It's actually really cool. Not just kind of, but really cool. All right, ta-da! Can you see the shimmer? And we will just put it all together with our Santa. And let me just do this one real quick. Let's go ahead and use our Snell. If you're a Snell lover, I love Snell as well. Okay, so I'll use that for another card later on. And then let's come back here, and I'm gonna do my little North Pole with the Memento. Just lightly ink up. See how I'm just kind of dabbing on there? And then I'm just pushing down just a little. And there, I held it for a second, and there we go. There is our North Pole. Okay, flip both of these around, and then I have cut my dimensionals into smaller little halves for me so that I can put them on just perfectly. Wow, we did it. That's it. Oh, that's so cool. You can easily make yourself a stack of these cards, like tons of them. You can see that I've made myself a ton, and it's not too hard. It's really quite relaxing. Now, if you would like to purchase any of the things that we used today to make this or any other Stampin' Up! Product, I'm here for you. That's why I'm here. I can help you purchase anything online, and that link to my store is down below. Okay, let's check out all the different options that I made in the same card, different colors. Let's just check them out. And I have asked a lot of people which one's their favorite, and people classically love the red, and it just kind of pops. So there you have it. And then here's a couple other simple cards that you can make. The thing I love about these cards is it's a Mr. and Mrs. Claus matching set. I also really love how simple they are to make. The reason they're easy is because I use the dies, the framelit dies in my Big Shot, and cut it out of the paper. Now I have to move on to show you my pizza box because it fits quite a few little cute things inside, and I think it's pretty fun and stunning. I also made a matching tag, and I love the tag a lot. I'm going to use it a ton. So glad you got to watch the December bundle. I just love this group. Please tune in for our January bundle. Thanks. Bye. Visit me at cmcstamps.com. There you go. We got it right. Thanks so much. Bye.